And hey, how's it going? Welcome back to the channel. So today we have an interesting looking Sudoku. This one is called Stitch by Taco. I don't believe I've done a puzzle by Taco before, so I hope this is interesting. But as you can see, it looks like we've got stitches going up the our diagonal here, so it kind of grabbed my attention. So I thought I'd give it a go. So let's get into our rules and see what's going on. So we got normal Sudoku rules apply. So every row, every column, every 3x3 box contains the digits 1 through 9 once each. Numbers cannot repeat on the given diagonal, which is this blue diagonal. So these all have to be different digits. The boxes marked by the stitches, the short lines across the diagonal, all add up to the same sum. Okay, so the combination of these two digits is going to equal all of these other ones. So they're just the same sum is what that's telling us. The numbers outside the grid mark the sum of the indicated diagonal, so those are little killer clues. So if you were to look at this clue here, the 17, these three digits added up together will equal 17. You can do the 14 up here. It's a long one. All of those will have to equal 14 as they're added together, and so on and so forth. Numbers around a black dot are in a 1 to 2 ratio, so these are Kropki dots. So whatever this digit is, this digit just has to be either half or double of the other one. We got all black dots are given, so we do have a negative constraint on the black dots so far. We'll have to remember that. Numbers around a white dot differ by 1. So like this one, these two digits just have to be consecutive. They have 1 apart from each other. And it says not all white dots are given. So that's kind of interesting. I've never seen a split like that for a Kropki dot rule set. So we have to keep in mind that the black dots do have a negative constraint. The white dots do not have a negative constraint. And sometimes my memory on when there's a negative constraint is splotchy at best, is what we'll call it. So I'm going to try to keep that in my head. So those are all the rules. Like usual, the links to these puzzles are in the description below if you want to play along or play before you see me do the solve. Go right ahead. But let's get into it. Again, this is Stitch by Taco. Now I kind of want tacos, so thanks for that. Where to start? Well, I noticed up here this little killer clue, which is why I didn't use it as a reference for the introduction, is a 16 killer, a little killer, which only can have 2 digits in it. So the only way to do 2 digits equaling 16 in a normal Sudoku rule set when they're in the same box or region, as I say, is 9 and 7. This 5 is not quite as powerful. It has to be either 1, 4 or 2, 3. I'm not going to mark that up yet because I don't think it gives me a lot. The other one I saw, which I did point out, was this 14. Now, do we have any constraints on our 14? Well, we've got a ton of digits here that have to add up to that 14. So you would think there might be some sort of level of, and there's something else I just noticed that I'll come back to in a second. There has to be some level of digits that can and cannot appear in these. So if we did 1s and 2s, let's just do the bare minimums. So we've got 1, 2, that's 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So that's not great. We still have 3 digits or some up to a difference of 3 where we can move back and forth. So it looks like there's a possibility you could put like a 4 in one of these. That's probably the highest you can get to. Now let's just take a look to make sure that's correct. If my math in my head makes any sense, and sometimes it doesn't. So if we had a 4, let's just say we threw 1 4 in there and the rest were minimum. So we'd have 4, 1, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. We can go up to a 5. See, I already screwed it up in terms of what I thought my minimum. So it's from 1 to 5 that have to be on this line. Now, on the face value, that doesn't seem like it does a whole lot. But is there something else we can use with that? And the other thing I said that I saw, but I was going to come back to, is that we know that all of these stitches have the same sum. Well, we have a little killer clue that's looking at one of the stitches. So we already know what the value of every single stitch is. It has to be 9. Is that super useful? I don't know that it is right away. Excuse me. Okay, so the next place I feel like would make sense to look is this conglomeration, or however you want to call it, of black Kropki dots. Now, there's only so many digits that can go on a black Kropki dot. 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, and 8, 7, or 5, 7, and 9 can never can never go on a black Kropki dot because you can never have or double those 3 digits and have a valid in a normal Sudoku, a valid digit in a normal Sudoku set of rules. Now, that said, I'm assuming there's going to have to be a bunch of digits that are almost given here. So let's put in our options. Now, there isn't really, usually on like when there's 3 digits in a row like this, you can kind of make some assertions, but because this last digit is outside the box, it does allow for these two to actually be the same digit. Now, the other thing I had briefly thought of when I was thinking about 5, 7, and 9 can't be on these digits, or in these cells. Well, we know this can't be an 8. I guess that's pretty good. And we know it can't be a 6 because we just determined that the 5 would be the highest it could possibly be. That does very little for us. It just means this can't be a 3. I think that's the only thing it actually does, yeah. So, not great. But what I was trying to get at is, if we cannot have 5, 7, and 9 in one of these, we have to have 5, 7, 9 in these digits somewhere. Now, clearly, these can't be 9. Can a 9 ever go here? Would be my next thought. If it is, we've got a 9, 8 pair. And I don't see how that's a problem. But it could be, so let's just take a quick look at it. If that's a 9, 8 pair, this is forced to be a 1. So we've just lost 1 and 8 from all these options. Now, I don't think that causes a problem because you can just do a 3, 6 here and like a 2, 4, 8 or something here. And that would not cause an issue there. Okay, so that didn't work in terms of removing the possibility of 9 from that digit. Now, 5 and 7, I don't know necessarily help here. Well, do we know there has to be a 3, 6 in one of these? Is there a possibility that that does not work if we did not have a 3, 6? Well, let's look at it, I guess. Let's remove 3, 6 from all of, let's just do these. I don't care about this other digit over here for now. Now, if we had an 8, 4, or 4, 8 would work better. We still do 1, 2, 4, so that doesn't, yeah, we can't make that leap of logic, I'll say. Huh. Well, I'm not getting a lot out of this right now. This one, we might be able to do a little bit with this. Let's just kind of go through it. Like we said, we know this has to be 1, 2, 3, and 4, and I might be missing something up here that's quite obvious to all of you. It's very possible. But I'm going to jump around a little bit just to see if I can see something else. Now, if this was a 1, that would force this to be a 2. Well, then we've got, well, we could do 1, 4 still, so that doesn't help us. This is a 2. This could be either 1 or 4. And that would just cause this to be a 3, no matter what. This is a 3. This forces this to be a 6. This has to be a 2. That works. If this is a 4, this has to be 2. And this has to be 1. So no, there's really nothing there. I thought there might be, but nope. Okay, well, I'm starting to run out of some ideas unless I can make a determination of these guys not being able to connect due to that negative constraint that I told myself not to forget about. So I'm going to get rid of those just for now. Now, can we look back at our 3-6 possibilities and see if it can happen? Because, no, there doesn't seem to be any reason why it would, because 3-6 separates itself. So if we did not have a 3-6, that's the other one to look at. We got 1, 2, 4, and 8. Now, can we make this work somehow where we don't have the black Kropki dot negative constraint impacting us? And am I making this way too complicated? I don't know. Tell me down below if you guys have found an obvious intro to this that I'm just being completely ignorant about. So, if this was a 1, that would force these to be a 2, clearly. Now, this one then could never be 1 or 2, and it couldn't be 4, so it would just have to be 8, and this would have to be 4, so there's nothing there. Okay. Well, I'm not getting anywhere on this puzzle, and quickly, as at that. I don't know that I can do anything in terms of the 9, because I know a couple of things about the 9, or with using that information. We know that these two have to equal 18, blah, blah, blah. It just leaves a bunch left over here. Is there anything on this 9 that's going to cause issues with our Kropki dots? So our options are clearly 1, 8, 2, 7. Well, 2, 7 doesn't ever work because you can't put a 7 on a Kropki dot. 3, 6 doesn't ever work on a Kropki dot, or on this particular layout of Kropki dots. And maybe this is, we're getting somewhere here, because if you put a 3 on either of these, the 6 would have to go up here, not with itself. The other option is 5, 4. You can never put a 5 on a Kropki dot. So that actually did work. Wow, I just didn't put that together until right there. Stop going off phone. So we've got a 1, 8 pair. Interesting. That's never would have occurred to me really to look at it like that until I started getting desperate about getting into this puzzle. So these have to be a 1, 8 pair. I just want to work that in my head one last time, make sure I'm not making a fatal mistake right off the bat. They have to equal 9. They cannot be 7, 2, 6, 3, or 5, 4. The only other way to do that is 1, 8. That's interesting, which means these have to be 2, 4, because one of them is going to be 1, so it has to connect to a 2. The other one has to be an 8, so it has to connect to a 4. Okay, so I've just gotten myself 2 pairs in this region where I didn't feel like there was anything I could do. So now we have, how do we make this 9? Well, we can't use 1, 8 because we just used it. We can't use 7, 2 because we've got the 2 over here. And we can't use 5, 4 because we've got the 4 over here. So this has to be a 3, 6. Now, if this was a 3, what would that do? It'd force this to be either a 2 or a 4. We can't do a 2 or 4. Now we've got digits. Huh. That really just popped out. And as we can go back here now, we just looked at this diagonal. There's no way you can put an 8 on it. So this has to be 1. This has to be 8. This has to be 2. This has to be 4. And that's pretty cool intro that took me almost probably about 10 minutes just to get this puzzle started. So let's keep going. Hopefully we can do a bit better as we move along. So that 4 means this is either a 2 or an 8. There's nothing ruling anything out there. If this is a 2 or 8, that forces this to be a 7 or a 1. Again, there's nothing ruling that out just yet. What are these 3 digits? Well, we've got to have 5, 7, and 9, which is kind of interesting that it came back to what I was saying about 5, 7s, and 9s not being over here, but then it does actually work out a little bit further than I thought it might. Now this clearly can't be a 9, so let's get rid of that. Okay, so now we've got, I think we're going to be able to continue with our 14 a little bit, because we knew there can't be a 7. So I've got going to a 1, which goes to an 8. We're going to now start getting some other things down here. I'm going to continue to look at this 14 for just a second instead of jumping into Sudoku. And we're going to see if I can do anything with it. So we already know we've got 5 on this line. So we can only do 9 more. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So we're eking it down a little bit as to what can be on here. Although not quite far enough to my liking where I could really say or start to put digits in yet, I don't think. So where's the next? So let's go to our Sudoku. We've got a 1, 2 looking at this bad boy right here. So these cannot be 1 or 2. We've got a 3 looking here. So this cannot be a 4 either, because then this would have to be a 1. Excuse me. Now this 3 or 4 is going to either put a 6 here or it's going to put a 2 here. Because we can't put an 8. I'm not a big fan of that. That doesn't seem to tell me a whole lot. Now, we can't quite start ruling out items here. Remember, there is the negative constraint. We can't have 8s in any of these, so one of these has to be 8. But that doesn't rule out us putting a 1 in either of these digits. But it doesn't rule it in either, because the 8 could just be right here, and we don't have anything saying there can't be an 8 there. Now, we do have a 5, 7, 9 with a 6, I guess you'd say quadruple. All that really does is remove 3, 6 from this. So we've got 1, 2, 4, and 8, and this clearly can't be 8. Not very good. Where else can we continue going with this one? Is this, now this is gonna, this Kropki dot is going to be, well, this can't be 8. We've got to keep remembering this 14, because I think it's going to stick its head in here somewhere. Or it's going to keep sticking its head into this situation. Let's get back to this Kropki dot. It cannot be 3, 6, because we've got a 3, 6. It cannot be a 1, 2, first off, because we have a 1 here, and if we did a 1, 2 here, this would have no value. So it has to be from 2, 4, and 8, which means it has to have a 4. And these are kind of small little assertions that aren't doing much. What other clues maybe am I not looking at? Well, I guess what I know, looking at this 14, that these are all going to be fairly low, which means that all of these are going to be fairly high. Let's go into it. What can these be? I don't think we can ever go to 4 again, but I could be completely wrong because I was previously. So like I said, 3, 4, 5. Could we ever have, start with 4, even though I haven't written it down? We've got, this would be 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. So we can have a 4. I'm missing it by a 1 digit every time for some reason. So these are our options of what any of these could be. Now the highest it can be is 4, which means these digits all have to be, well, possibilities of 5, 6, 7, and 8. Now this clearly can't be 5 or 7. That's somewhat useful. This can't be 8, which forces this to not be 1. Now I said these can't be 5 or 7, so this can't be 2 or 4. Let's get rid of those. Now because we've removed an 8 from here, that removes this from being a possibility of a 1, which might play into our 14. But I think we need to continue on this route a little bit and use our little nibbling clues that we can use. This is either 6 or 8, so it's either 3 or 4. Now, if this was 6, this would have to be 3 to equal 9. And this would have to be 3 to satisfy the Kropki, so it can never be a 6. So this has to be 4, 8. And this has to be 1. There's something. We're getting a lot of 8s, it seems, which is interesting. There's no 8s in any of these, so one of these two has to be 8. I'm going to start marking things just because I don't want to miss anything obvious. Now, putting that 1 in here doesn't really help as much because it's the bare minimum already. What else can we look at here? I mean, 4s, we don't have a ton of 4s. We know none of these are 4. It just means that we have a 4 here. We already looked at our 8s going this way. There's not much else going on at 8s this way. We can't rule out 5, 6, or 7 here just yet, because this could be, if this was a 5, this could be 6. If this is 6, this could be 5 or 7. There's nothing on the line that removes that possibility. If this is a 7, this could be a 6. That all works. Yeah, so that's not quite doing. The 17 still doesn't look like it's very useful to me yet, because there's got to be a bunch of ways to make 17 in 3 digits. Just making sure recording is still going well. Sometimes my audio cuts out, so I have to look at it every now and again. Where is our next step? I feel like we should have it here somewhere. We can't rule out 2, 4 or 4, 8 here. We know there can't be a 2 in any of those. I mean, it does tell us there has to be a 2 in one of these. That's a little something because it rules out a 2 here. I don't know that this constraint's going to give us much more. Maybe I should look at our negatives. Is there anything negative constraint-wise that's working? Yes, there is. All black dots are given. This cannot be a 2, so that has to go away, which means this is the only opportunity of a 2, which means this has to be a 7. There we go. It's a little something. This can't be a 4, I just noticed from that. So this can't be an 8, which means we have our 8 up here. We know that one of these is a 2. We can remove our 8 and our 1. Did these 7 and 2 look at anything? The 7, actually, looking at this white Kropki dot, has to be a 6 next to it, because we can't go to 8. The 6 rules out a 6 here, which means this is not a 3. Now, can we rule out our 4 that I keep wanting to put in here? 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We've only got 6 left. 4, 5, 6, 7 would be the bare minimum. We cannot put a 4 here. I almost said we couldn't put a 4 here, but that would have been erroneous. So like I said, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We've got 6 left over. If this was a 4, these could both be 1s, and that would work. So this can't be 5. That's what that's telling me. Okay. Now, if this is 7 or 8, I mean, I don't like doing that, but I'm kind of struggling to keep moving here. Well, this can't be 6, because that 6 looks at it. The only other thing I could think of is we have to have a 1 on this line somewhere, and it can't be in any of these positions because all of them are seeing another 1. Now that can't be a 1, so one of these has to be a 1. This one can't be a 1 because it doesn't have anything to go with it, so this is 1. Now that 1 is going to rule this out from being a 1, and therefore this can't be an 8. Is there anything else similar to that we can use? We have to have an 8 on the line as well, and it can't be any of those, so it's one of these 2. So one of these 2 is a 7. Does that rule out this being a 7? No, it doesn't. What does it? If this is a 7, it forces this to be an 8, and that has to be a 7, so that's not a 7. Again, not great stuff, but... So we've got 1, 2, 4, and 6 on this line. We know we still need a 3. 3 cannot go here, because it's got nothing to connect to, so it's got to be one of these two. We already have a 4. We need a 5. 5 could go anywhere. 7 could be either here or here. And I don't think I can rule those out. And then the other 8 was here, and then we have to have a 9 as well. And this could be a 9, or either of these could be 9s. So not doing much there. Now, I kind of want to look at the 17 for a second, but I'm going to hold, just because I know this has to be sort of high-ish, middle-high, maybe. But I don't know if it's going to do me much good. And in here, we only have 3 digits left, but there's not a ton of, there's nothing really pointing at them. Now, did we get anything with our putting our 8 up there? We kind of just forgot about a little bit. I don't know that we did. Oops, I can't draw straight lines. I'm not seeing it. Now we've got, go back here, we've got a bunch of digits, 5, 7, 9, 6, and 8 all taken care of. We don't have a 3 yet in here, so there has to be a 3 here. Now we know there has to be a 2 in one of these. Can we use that to our advantage? I think all that really means is this is either a 1-3 pair or a 1-4 or a 3-4 pair. That doesn't do much except for remove the fact that that can't be a 1. Okay. No. This one's going to keep on me for a while. Wait, did I remove something? I think I removed something from here when I put this 1 here. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We've got 6 left. This cannot have 4 on it anymore now because we can't put a 1 down here. So we get a 2-3 pair. These can't have a 5 on them, so they are a 6-7 pair. So we need to have a 9. It could be in any of these 3. We need to have a 5. It could be in any of these 3. And we need to have a 4, which could be either one of these 2. So we have to have a 4 on 17. This has to be from, it's either 5 or 8. So we've got a 4 that either goes with a 5 or an 8. Now we can't go 4 with 5, because that would be 9, or no, yeah, that would be 9. Then we'd have to have an 8 to go along with it, but the 8 has to be in one of these. So I don't think this can be a 5, right? If that's 5, these have to be 4, 8, and this also has to be 8. So that's no go. So this has to be 8. This has to be 9. Now that 8's going to give me a 7 and a 2. That 2 is going to give me a 1 and a 4. Okay, this is starting to get somewhere. Now this has to be a 2. That gives me a 3 and a 6, which I could have gotten anyway, but that's okay. These are 4 and 5. Yes, we do have a 4 over there. So this is 5, 4. There we go. Now, 4 and 5 and 8 do in fact equal 17, so we are on the right track. Now we can finish our 14. So we got 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 13. We need a 1 to finish it, which gives us our 8, which we could have just done with this 9 here, but hey, I've been wanting to finish this 14 for a while, so I was going to do it. Now, we've got a 7 here, looking up at here, so we got 9 and 7 we can put in. This can't be 9 anymore, so this has to be 9. We've got the 5, 7 pair, so there's no 7 in any of these, and the 7 sees that, so this has to be 7. What next can we look at? Let's see if there's any clues that are going to work for us, or if I need to just jump into some Sudoku. I think Sudoku might be a good idea at the moment. This one sees this 2. So this is not a 2. What else can we do with the 1s? 1s can't be in any of those, so here's a 1. So I think we should be good with 1s here in a second. No, we're not. We've got an X-wing left of 1s here. Can we do anything with our 2s? We can. We've got a 2 here. Anything further? One of these has to be a 2. Not great. Can we rule anything out of this? I think we probably can, although it might not be all that useful. We can't put a 1 on it, we know that. So it's 2, 3, 4, 6, 8. Now this can't be 4 or 6 or 8. So that actually does do something there. This can't be 3 or 8. It can't be 2. So it has to be either a 2-4 pair or a 3-6 pair. Can it be a 2-4 pair? It absolutely can. Okay. I was looking across the line to see if it might ruin something over there, but it does not seem to do so. How about this column? We need a 3 in it somewhere. There are 2 options for that. 5 can go anywhere, and then 9 can go in 2 places, but the 3 and the 9 do not correlate, so maybe I need to go back and continue looking at our basic Sudokus. Is there anything showing? Well, I mean, I guess we know there's a 3 down here. Doesn't do much. 4s. 4s, 4s, 4s. No, I don't like them. 5s, nothing. 6s. I mean, it just shows a 6 here. And then it'll show a 6 here. This is all just like making notations for the sake of making notations at this point, I think. We do have a 7 here, so there's something that we can use. 7's down here. No. Let's finish this first, and then I'll go back elsewhere. This 8 sees this 4. Okay, so that's something. Was I on 8s yet? No. Yes, I was. 8s, sorry. So one of these 2 is an 8. One of these 2 is an 8. Blah. 9s. One of those 2. One of these 2. One of these 2. Not great. So these 2 digits have to be from 3, 5, and 7. They can't be 7. So this has to be 3 and 5. If you're looking at our diagonal, the digits cannot repeat. There's only 3 digits left to go on here. It's 3, 5, and 7. So this has to be 7. This has to be 5. Okay, we're moving a little bit. Let's just keep going at it. Now, where would be the next intersection? We've got 3s up here. We've got 3s here, so there's no 3s in any of those. So this is 3. Bit by bit, we're going to get these 2 digits in general. They have to be 5 and 9. Yes, and we have a 9 over here, so it's 5 and 9. We know these 3 digits are from 3, 6, and 2. This can't be 3, this can't be 6, this can't be 2. Wow, that was extremely useful. We've used, I think, all our clues. Let's not forget about our negative constraint, which I've already forgotten about. So if this is a 2, this can't be a 1, and this is where we're going to start paring stuff down. So that's got to be 1, that's got to be 1. This then has to be 6. These are 3 and 4, and this cannot be a 4, so this is 3 and 4 and 5 and 3. As usual, negative constraints are things that fall out of my brain pretty easily if I don't keep on top of them. Now these have to be from 5 and 7. We've got a 5 down here, so we've got 7 and 5. Can we do anything with these guys yet? We have to get a 4 in here, which has to go there. We got to get a 9, which has to go here. This has to be 6. Here we go. And is there anything else that I've got my negative constraints I could do anything with? It doesn't look like it. So let's just continue our Sudoku. This has to be 6. This digit is either 3, 6, or 5, and it can't be 5, so it's 3 or 6. Wait, not 5. 3, 6, or 4. 3, 6, 4 are the possibilities. This cannot be 3 or 6, so this is 4. Okay, so we can get rid of that. Now we've got this digit here, which has to be 5. These are from 2, 4, and 6, and this is not 4, so this is 2 or 6, which gives us our 4, which gives us our 2, which gives us our 6 and our 3, and our 6 and our 2 and our 3. Okay, now this cannot be a 2, so it has to be 8. I know I didn't remove the marking there previously, but there was no need to do so. We need 5 and 9 here. 5, 9. This has to be 5. These two have to be from 3 and 7. There's nothing there just yet. These two, though, have to be from 6 and 9. We've got a 6 here, so we've got 9, 6. This is a given digit of 5. These are 7 and 9. We've got a 9, so we've got 7 and 9. That's going to give us our 3 and our 7. We are not getting a doot-to-doot-to-doots today, but that's perfectly fine. This digit right here is left as a 3, and then this digit is an 8. And there we go. Looks good as far as I can tell. So that was Stitch by Taco. Excellent puzzle. Took me a little while to get into it, to get started. I think that's just because I wasn't looking at the right areas, but once it got going, it moved quite well. I really enjoyed that one. I hope you guys did too. And I will see you in the next one. Bye.